Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Shelby Hennon. I am the admissions coordinator at St. Pius X High School. Here with me, I have Samantha Baker and Charles Mora, our campus ministers, as well as Mr. Monachino, our principal. We are so excited that you have decided to spend the morning with us, and so hopefully we will be able to provide you some info on St. Pius and answer any questions you have towards the end. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to go ahead and drop those in the chat box, and then we will get to those at the end of the presentation. But with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Monachino.
Hello all, and thanks for joining us on this fine Thursday morning. I know we're looking, we might get some rain. It's been nice up to this point, so we'll see if we do get a little bit of rain that we need, then we can move on. So I hope all's well, and hopefully as we go through this program this morning, you'll feel free to ask any questions that you might have. So what I want to talk to just a little bit about what St. Pius has to offer. We've been, just like our partner schools here in the Northland Catholic school community, we've been in session since this thing started in August. We worked on a plan, and we've been doing great things all year long. The kids have been very supportive of what we've been trying to do, and it's been pretty normal here for the most part, other than masks and begging kids to stay away from each other. It's gone pretty good. Athletics has gone well, and we've been blessed. But I think if you are in one of our partner schools, then you probably know most of this stuff. But if you're not, just to reiterate, we believe that the parents are the primary educators. That's what our church teaches us, and we know that, we recognize that, we respect that. So we expect you to play a pretty active role in their education. We want to partner with you to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to make sure that your child is successful in whatever they want to do here in the 4 years that they're with us, and then that they stay grounded in their faith. All those things are very important to us. Discipline issues, we don't really have a whole lot. I'm networked with the greater Kansas City principals, and most of them are public school principals. So the things that they deal with are not the things that we deal with. We still are dealing with kids not shaving, untucked shirts, kids being late to class, things like that. So I mean, we expect kids to follow the rules, and they tend to do that. Most of the time when I have a public school principal come and see our school, walk around, they're amazed at two things. One of them being that there's no kids in the hallways ever during class. They're in the classroom learning. And two, the lunchroom is quite quiet. I guess their lunchrooms are a little out of control. I don't know, but I've never been in a public school, so I don't know, other than to visit as well. And they seem pretty normal to me. We do have a dress code that kids wear. Again, it's pretty general. It's gotten lax over the years since I've been here. So it's, pretty much khaki pants for boys or shorts, and some kind of polo, white, blue, some kind of polo. And then we expect them to shave and have their hair groomed. Girls, it's black or khaki pants and shorts. So again, we don't have really a problem with those things. They tend to do fine with those. Most of the years we limit our class size to 20 at the most. We know that by doing that, we might have a class or two that gets one or two kids over 20, but that's very few of those are like that. The majority of our classes are less than 20. So like if we have a class of 90 kids, we'll set the limit we'll set 5 sections at 20 kids. So we know that we'll have some room to grow there if we need to, in case a family wants to transfer in at Christmas or things like that. Again, we're all about getting kids ready for college. So parents and kids tend to buy into that, and there's an environment where learning can occur. So it's good for us. You can see that our academic program, I think, is, for our size of a school, we have roughly 340 kids, which tends to limit some of the things that we can offer, but just because we don't have, 1,000 kids that 20 might want a certain class. But we do have plenty of placement and dual credit courses. Those courses are the advanced placement are college credit courses, but at the end of the year, those are run through the AP board. So they have to take an actual test, a standardized test, and they're given a certain score on it. And if they get a qualifying score, then the college will accept it. The dual credit courses, we work with Rockhurst, Missouri Western, and UMKC for our dual credit courses. So most anywhere a kid's going to go to college, those courses, those credits will transfer into there. We have dual credit courses in math and science and foreign language and English. So we have plenty of both of my daughters graduated from here with, I don't know, 12 or 13 college credit hours. So it gave them a little bit of an advantage when they went to college, so they didn't have to load up to get out of there in 4 years. So it was really easy for them to get loaded up. You can see the student teacher ratio there. That's taken every single class, dividing it by the kids in there. So that's what it ends up being, is the school wide. So you can see that 20 is the max. It's not very often that even occurs, especially in those courses like a calculus course or a AP physics course where there's only 14, 15 kids in those classes. Still have a pretty good track record of kids going to college, although we're starting to see kids and families that want a Catholic education that may not be doing that. We're working with the Northland CAPS program. We're also working with this Platte County Technical School. We have a student there too that's doing some diesel mechanic training. But for the most part, we do have kids that are going to college. So I mentioned the A+. We did just recently, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, we had the right governor in the governor's seat, and he allowed private schools to be a part of that A+ program that's been going on for a long time in the public schools. So our kids are taking advantage of that. That is where if they do certain things while they're here at school in high school, their first 2 years, their 2 years of a junior college would be paid for by the state of Missouri. So we have a few kids that are taking advantage of that. So we're part of that. And then that Northland CAPS program, like I just mentioned, that's where a student leaves the school for half a day their senior year. And most of them are doing the medical track, but we have a few kids that might be doing the engineering track or the business track. They have all kinds of tracks that they can get involved in. So they go to a place of business and do like an internship there for the year or first semester. The only comparison we really have to our public school counterparts are the ACT tests. So most of our kids are taking that. Who knows what's going to happen in this since this last year. I've read some articles where colleges are going to kind of waive that ACT requirement for kids because they've been out of school for a year. But these are just some numbers. We do, because our kids are going to college and they are taking the ACT, we want to make sure our kids maximize the potential for scholarships or anything like that. So we do keep our eyes on the ACT test. All students take a practice test in October. So freshmen through seniors all take a test. I guess the seniors don't because they're actively taking the ACT. But sophomores, freshmen through juniors take an ACT test, which then we as teachers get the scores and we can kind of zero in on a kid and figure out what they need specific help with. But, if your student has always done well on standardized tests, I think these numbers give you a pretty good indicator of what it is. You can see the state average. A couple of years ago, I guess it's been a few years ago, the state required all juniors in the state of Missouri to take the ACT test. That state number of 20.2 actually was higher. It was almost 22 before that mandate happened. So by testing all of the juniors in the public schools, that went down almost 2 points. But ours numbers stay relatively the same. So if you're in the top half of our graduating class, you're scoring a 27. The top 20% and top 10% are right around 30. So our kids, we do pay attention to it. We're not teaching, well, hopefully we are teaching to the test, because that's given an indication of what they need to know to go to college. So hopefully that's what we're doing. And so we do have our eyes on that. And our kids do pretty good. They take the test seriously and they do pretty good. Have all kinds of stuff. Being a smaller school in a big city, you have to be competitive by offering all the sports. We have plenty of things that kids can get involved in, both in the sports world and the extracurricular activity world of debate and scholar bowl and drama, all those things that we have. But you can see everything that we offer. Pretty good. The only thing that I really have been kind of questioned about is girls golf. We right now, our girls, if they want to play golf, and we've had girls, they play on our boys team in the spring. So I think we do have a girl that's actually trying to play golf this spring. But that's really the only thing. Other than that, we have pretty much everything else to offer that any other school would have for our kids. Then we have all these things that I kind of alluded to as well. These activities that they can do that are extracurricular. These some of these clubs are student led. They come to me, like this ping pong club, chess club. I mean, some of these things, if the kids have come to me and just asked, hey, can we start this club? They'll beg some teacher to stick around with them for a half hour after school on a couple days a week. And so that's what's happened with a lot of these. Sarton Singers is our competitive singing group. That's a class. They usually do that. The student ambassadors, we've actually made that a class. But other than that, we have our kids are involved in a lot of things, and which makes it difficult for them to get to a teacher to get extra help if they need it. So our schedule of the day, the various schedules throughout the week, give them the opportunities to get to a teacher, and if they need the one-on-one help that they need, they can get to them. So we encourage kids to participate in everything. As a former men's basketball coach, football coach, I'm currently helping with the girls basketball program. We want kids to be involved in everything that they can be. That's not going to affect them academically, but so it becomes difficult. The coaches work together. We had a couple girls on our basketball team this year that were also on our academic team. So we had to figure out those things during practices. So it works out. We work together well, and we want to make sure that what's best for the kid is happening. All right, I will turn it over to Charles and Sam so they can talk about our campus ministry program.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Ronakino. Campus ministry is new for 2020, 2021 as our full-time role. So kind of just hit the ground running with just different opportunities for the students and faculty to grow in their faith and in love of God. So throughout the week, we have different before school, during school, after school events. So like Tuesday mornings, we start the day with rosary. Wednesday, our awesome chaplain, Father Reeb, who's in that top left picture. He's here during lunch to hear confessions, and we have all day adoration. He also celebrates Mass on Thursday and Friday. And Thursday morning Mass is optional, but Friday we have all school Mass. When it's nice outside, we go out to the football field in COVID times. And during the winter months, we've been in the two gyms, and one group of students is in the main gym, and then the other group participates via live stream in the auxiliary gym. And then we've been bringing in different people in different vocations. So whether that is young single people or married or religious vocations such as priests, seminarians, religious sisters, just to come and be a witness to their faith and vocations, just to get students thinking about what am I going to do after I graduate from St. Pius. And then just to build a culture of God in our school in like all different areas. We've been doing these weeks called, we've called them God Week, Mom Week, Joe Week, which is coming up next week, Holy Spirit Week. Joe Week is a week that honors Saint Joseph, whose feast day is next week. But it's kind of like Spirit Weeks, and yeah, we just dive into our faith, into like that area of our faith, and learn more about the mysteries of our faith. We also have school-wide rosary and Eucharistic processions, just so the whole community can participate in a service. Then we have adoration nights once a quarter, and remain them, where we'll have praise and worship, adoration, a student witness, and just a time of fellowship with our St. Pius community. And I'll hand it over to Sam to talk about service.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So service is another component here at St. Pius X High School. By the time students graduate, so at the end of their senior year, they're required to have 60 service hours. And so we kind of like to break it down to say by the end of each year, you should have at least 15 hours. And so it's broken down into 3 categories. So St. Pius X, you can have no more than 20 hours. So that's the only category where you can max out. In parish, you would only need 20 hours, and then community, you would need a minimum of 20 hours, but that's where a lot of students kind of go above and beyond and get a lot of their hours. So not only do we require them to do 60 service hours outside of the school hours, we do a lot of service during the school day and throughout the school year. During the fall, we had our food drive for the Bishop Sullivan Center. So that's the picture on the right with the red bags. And we were able to help over 30 families for Thanksgiving, which was really awesome for the students to be able to participate and see how they can help those in their community. For Christmas, we do adopt a family. So each, in our tribe system, each family takes on a family that is in need and buys gifts for children that go without during Christmas. And this year, we're actually able to raise enough money to provide Christmas dinner for those families. We also do a towel drive for Hope Faith Ministry, which is a local homeless center that provides different amenities to homeless. And we are able to provide over 250 towels for them to be able to give to those that come in to take showers. We also did something new this year called Battle of the Bottles, where we competed against Bishop LeBond and St. Joseph to raise money for the Parkville Women's Clinic. Unofficially, kind of officially, we creamed them, if that's a good word. And we were able to raise over $1,000 to be able to help the Women's Center and provide education to those that have untimely pregnancies. We are also getting ready for our St. Joseph table. And so during that week, we have lots of different service opportunities for students to participate in. On Monday, we are actually going down to the Sisters of St. Francis warehouse to serve for 3 hours and help them organize medical supplies and get ready to ship those out to communities that lack those supplies. And then Guatemala mission trip. This is a big one that a lot of students go on. This summer, we are unable to attend because of COVID, but we're trying to find creative ways to continue to help that community. But we are officially going in 2022. So we will be going June 4th through the 10th. And so that's another great way for students to get service hours, to build a community here. And so, yeah, we also put different service opportunities on our community service page on our website. So anytime there's someone in the community or in a parish that needs some service, we put them there. We share it on the announcements. So students are constantly having opportunities for service. They have to fill out a service form, turn it into the office and get it approved. And so we don't leave them hanging. We're always there to help and encourage them and if they're not meeting their goal, we give them reminders and opportunities and give them personal invites to different opportunities to get their service hours up.
Alrighty. Well, awesome. So now that you've hopefully gotten a little taste of what we have here at St. Pius X, we're kind of going to talk about what's next and looking ahead. As you guys have signed up for this, you obviously have a 5th through a 7th grade student. So I think it's awesome that you are already out exploring your options so early. So this is just kind of a timeline, a way to stay engaged with St. Pius X up until your 8th grade year. And then we'll talk briefly about what to look forward to as you make that final decision in your student's 8th grade year of school. So continuing to get to know St. Pius X, attend our summer camps. We are very excited this year, again, to hopefully be back full steam ahead on summer camps. So that is going to be everything from sports taught by our, or led by our coaches and our varsity teams often. So any sport that your child is interested in, from softball to football to soccer, you name it, there will be a camp available for them. We're also looking forward to expanding some of our outside offerings. So things like art camp, science camp, we're even looking into a cooking camp. So lots of kind of fun activities coming your way. Definitely sign your students up for that. Those all take place here at St. Pius X. And it is a great way to get your student meeting other Northland Catholic school kids, as well as getting to know St. Pius and some of our amazing staff. So I always recommend that. With COVID, we had to kind of put a pause this year on some of our usual events where we get to welcome you to campus. Lord willing, next year we will get back to normal in a lot of ways. So with that, we typically do offer Northland Catholic Schools Night at the Game. So I know we do that at volleyball, football games. And so that's where we invite our Northland Catholic School teams to come and join us. But also it's just a great time, again, throughout the year to come check out our sports teams. One of the things that families don't always get to see when they are here is our beautiful new athletic complex. If you have not been up there yet, it's just located about a mile up the road. It has our baseball, our softball fields, our tennis courts, as well as cross-country course, a track, a soccer field. So there's a lot to see. So we definitely want to invite you out, again, COVID permitting, and kind of watch your emails. But next year, we really hope to be able to continue to invite families to come out to our games, our plays, and all of that good stuff that we normally would have. And then also St. Pius X does I think a good job of getting out and into the Catholic schools. So this year we had a student ambassador class that interacted via Zoom and did different activities with your students. Myself, Sam, Charles, and a few of our coaches have been around talking to some of your middle school students. So we are really doing our best to get out and get in front of them. And so definitely just encourage them, if they see us around, say hey, ask their questions. We're really here to help in any way that we can. So when you get into your 8th grade year, that is when decision time really kind of comes into play. So September 1st is when our application opens. Our application is new this year, so if you haven't heard of it before, that's okay. It's a new edition this year. Typically takes about 10 to 15 minutes. There's a little bit for you to answer as the parent, and then we like to hear from your student about things they may be interested in, why they think they would like to attend St. Pius, all of that good stuff. So not super intensive, but that does open on September 1st. And then we also hope next year, Lord willing, to reinstate our traditional shadow days. So if you haven't heard of that, that is your students' opportunity to come to St. Pius X and shadow a current student for an entire day. So they'll get to go to all of their classes, they'll get to eat lunch, and it's a really great way to get a feel for what a typical day at St. Pius X is like. So again, keep watching your emails on that. Lord willing, we will be able to reinstate that in the coming year. And then December is the high school placement test. The high school placement test is a required test for any student coming to St. Pius X. And that is something that we typically offer the first Saturday in December, with several makeup dates in the following year. The key to remember with this is I always recommend families do get signed up for that December date, just because that is the one date that we can award our scholarship pool from. So there are several scholarships associated with high performance on the high school placement test, but you do have to take it on that original date to qualify. So we give you plenty of advance notice on that. Typically we schedule that back in even as early as August. So hopefully that's something you can kind of have on your calendar. For us, it's just a benchmark. We are not going to deny your student entrance based on the high school placement test, but it does give us kind of a good idea of where your student is at academically, so we can recommend the proper classes. And then the other big thing is affording St. Pius X. So each year our tuition is set for the coming year in the fall. So right now for in-parish tuition, it's $9,000 a year per student. That again is set each year. There are a variety of scholarships available as well as financial aid. So financial aid is done through an outside system called FACS. It's very similar to if anyone has ever had the good fortune of filling out a FAFSA for a college, it's done in much the same way. So it takes a look at your tax returns and then determines family need based upon that. So with FACS, that accesses things like grant money as well as work study. We do have several work study positions available for our students to take advantage of. But the big thing to remember is that that is only open for a very brief window of time. So I never want anyone to forget it, which is why I'm already telling you about it. But that'll be open from November through mid-December of your student's 8th grade year. So if you have any interest in applying for financial aid, those are the dates that you definitely want to kind of keep in your head. And then in addition to that, several scholarships, we have everything from large family. So if you have 4 or more children, I would love to talk to you about our large family rate, as well as different scholarships, again, based on anything from singing to scoring in a certain percentile in the high school placement test. So there are plenty of ways definitely to make St. Pius X affordable for your family. And we kind of want to help you through that. So again, as that progresses, typically by December is when we are asking you to commit to St. Pius X. And then starting in the spring semester, we do everything like registering your student for classes. We have welcome days and several events throughout the year to kind of get them excited for school in the fall. So that's kind of the timeline that we are working with here. I know I already have one question in the drop box, but if anyone else has one, feel free to add that. I think it says, can you tell me about someone mentioned the tribe system. Can you tell me what the tribe system is? Yeah, so our tribe system is our form of student government. So students are divided into one of 4 groups. And that each one has a patron saint associated with it. And within those groups, they get sectioned off into a family. So a family is a group of students from freshmen through seniors, and they do everything from study hall together. They engage in tribe competitions. It's also our version. It's kind of like your Harry Potter house and student council all in one. So they're doing everything from decorating our hallways for Spirit Weeks to raising money for the Bishop Sullivan Center, like Sam said. And so it is a really great way for students to get involved. They do have various levels of leadership for each class. So it's a great way also to take advantage of it. But yes, each student will be sorted into one of our 4 tribes when they come to St. Pius. And then the next one I'm seeing is, do sports teams make cuts? And Mr. Monachino, I don't know if you can answer that one for us.
I think the ones that are offered more often are, so volleyball would, I think, cuts. I think she had to cut a few kids last year. Baseball, boys baseball generally needs to make cut. Boys basketball needs to make cuts. Soccer, I don't think he's had to make cuts for a while. Maybe in the men's program, but again, anything that is a more popular sport in our grade schools, especially that are offered in our grade schools, those tend to be it. But we don't cut in, track, cross country. Most sports we don't. The ones I mentioned, I think we've had to cut the last few years. Boys basketball is probably the most, just because it seems like everybody plays basketball.
Yeah.
And as a former men's basketball coach, we do not cut in the girls program, but as a former boys basketball coach, worst thing I've had to do in my career. That's the hardest thing for any coach to do, is is tell a kid that you're not good enough to make a team. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I think one thing that makes St. Pius X unique is that one, we encourage kids to play multiple sports. And I think we have a rare combination of great athletic success while also letting as many kids play as possible. So for example, our football team doesn't cut. They took second in state this year. So it's a really great opportunity for your student at whatever level they come in to be a part of a team, to grow and to prosper. So I think that's something that makes St. Pius X unique. At a lot of bigger schools, you're encouraged to specialize and focus on one sport or one activity. And we really encourage our students to take advantage of a variety of sports and activities while you're here. The next one is, do we have a band? So we do not at the moment, but we are in the process of bringing on a new music teacher who has an instrumental background. So I know we're very excited. She currently plays the violin, the drum, the viola, and piano. So she's definitely a very gifted musician, and I think we're excited to look forward to some of the classes that she'll bring on in the years to come. So not currently.
Well, over the years, I can add, we've actually had like a pep band that was like an extracurricular activity that played at pep rallies and games and things like that. This was something that the kids just, again, it was a club that was an after school thing. A few years ago, we tried to do a drum line, which was about 6 or 7 kids in. We offered it again this year. I don't know how many kids signed up for it. But like Shelby said, we're trying to grow that fine arts program to where a kid with those talents, we've had kids that, even though we don't have an instrumental program, those kids still are, can go to state in instrumental music. So we've had kids almost every year do that, whether it be the violin or the piano or something like that.
And then I think I see one last one. What help are you able to offer for students who are struggling academically?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Sam and Charles could, because they're new and they witness this daily. I don't know if they can chime in here, but we've had teachers that have come to us from other schools and pretty much just say, wow, I mean, what you offer kids for help if they want it, the kid really has to try to not succeed if they don't want the help. I mentioned it a little bit. We have there's a study hall 3 days a week that offsets their lunch, so they have time to get with either a student or a teacher at that time. We have 2 late starts a week, Wednesdays and Thursday mornings. Wednesday is pretty much dedicated to those kids that are struggling. We have tutors that are available for kids. Teachers are available. Then this morning we have a late start as well. We offer that voluntary mass at 7:30. We don't start school till 8:30, so that mass gets over 5:10 to 8. So they've still got 35 minutes of time that they can get to a teacher, again with a tutor they can get to. I sit out in the commons every day at 7:00. I mean, I've done it for years. This year it's a little more, my purpose is to keep kids away from each other out there, but I help. I've taught any math class that we offer here, so any kid knows that if they have anything that they need with math, they can come up and ask me to help them with a problem or whatever. So we identify the kids that are struggling. We have a kind of a philosophy: you can't opt out of learning. So if a teacher, if you don't turn in an assignment, we have a list of kids that we do daily, that an incompleted assignment list. So they're kind of put somewhere during the lunch periods, during the seminars, to where they can get those things caught up. They might not get credit for doing it, but you can't just opt out. You're going to have to do the work. And then we have also, we're watching kids with their grades. If they have 1F or 2Ds or something like that, we're kind of keeping an eye on them and making sure that we're getting them the help they need as well. So, and I think we do it just because, I mean, that's just the way we are, but it also helps those kids, like I said, that are involved in a lot of things and don't have the time after school to do things, to get with the teacher. So, and most of our teachers do something too, coach, or so they're not even available after school. So we've carved out those times during the day to kind of help those kids. I don't know, Charles and Sam, you guys are new and you kind of see it in operation. So
Yeah, alongside everything Mr. Montecano said, we just want to be there for the students, whether they're going through like emotional or spiritual trouble. Like I said, Father Reeb is here every Wednesday for confessions. We're here every day. If a student ever wants to talk to us, something we started, especially around finals time in December, we just sent an email out to all the teachers asking if who they thought was struggling. And once we got that list of students, we just try to give them positive affirmations or pray for them intentionally, leave them a nice note on their locker, little things like that, just to boost their morale. And yeah, just make sure no one slides under the cracks. Everyone gets the help they need. So yeah, and it's also like a benefit of having such a small school or like population to where we can be intentional with as many students as possible, and they're not lost in 1,500 plus student body. Yeah. Do you have anything after that?
Yeah, we are always at lunch. All three of us are hanging out at lunch. And that's a great time that we get to know the students and they get to kind of be in their own element. Yeah, it's just a family field. Everyone knows everyone, even with their mask on. We're able to, make eye contact, know who you are, say hi by name. So if that's definitely something you want your student to be a part of, this is the place to be. St. Pius has awesome options. No one is left behind, and we have something for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, that is all the questions that I see. So you will be getting an email after this that kind of has all of the information we covered. The other thing I will mention is, though Shadow Days have not been reinstated yet, we are open for tours. So if you haven't seen St. Pius X in a few years, you really haven't seen St. Pius X. We have so many new improvements and facilities. It seems like there's something new every year, from our new lecture hall style room that just came in this year, to our renovated convent that has our art room and our media lab, to our athletic complex. There is a lot to see. So if you are interested in doing that, again, just respond to the email that will get sent to you after this. We would love to show you and your student around, and hopefully let them imagine how this place could be home for their next 4 years. But with that, thank you all so much for joining us today. And we hope you have